Hey everyone, I just wanted to do a quick recap. I can't talk today. A quick recap on what you have learned this week. So on Monday, remember we talked about social control. And social control is a set of values and morals that society holds that keeps individuals from doing things outside the norm. So it controls our behavior in an informal manner. Remember, I gave you the example of if someone is praying in church, typically no one will stand up and start shouting while they're praying because that would be seen as a taboo thing to do. And social control tries to keep those things in check. Also, we talked about on Wednesday the individual rights perspective versus the public order perspective. And remember, individual rights is that perspective which seeks to uphold the rights of individuals based on what the Constitution says. So when we think about gun control advocates and those that are pro Second Amendment, they are typically individual rights advocates. They say, hey, I have this right and the government cannot take it away from me. Where, on the other hand, public order advocates argue against that, saying, yes, you have that right, but I have the right to be safe in society, and it does a greater good for all of society if we take certain weapons away or all the weapons, whatever the argument is. And I'm just using this as an example. So, individual rights is trying to protect the rights of the individual, whereas public order is trying to maintain the order of society. And then when you think about dealing with crime, we have the due process model and then the crime control model. So, due process goes back to the Bill of Rights and is more closely aligned with the individual rights perspective because they say if you get arrested, you have the right to an attorney, you have the right to certain due process steps throughout the entire course of your case going to court. And that perspective really argues for that. Whereas on the crime control model says, we really have to limit the activities of people and make sure that we have laws and rules in place to keep social order in check, to make sure that we are not a society that's just running amok and everyone's doing what they want. So make sure that you do your homework that is due this weekend. And if you have any questions about the concepts that we've learned, please reach out to me. And remember, I have graded some of the assignments, and I was concerned. I want you to remember the three components of the criminal justice system. We talked about them on Monday, and we talked about them again on Wednesday. If you're unfamiliar with those, you need to go back and read chapter 1. But it's very important. This class builds on what those three components are. So by the end of week 1, you should know you should be able to identify the three components and what their role is in the criminal justice system, how they interrelate, meaning how do they work together, and also how do they sometimes have competing goals. So make sure you're reading chapter 1 and contact me if you have any questions, and I will see you all next week.